Hi, hello, assalamualaikum. So today we will review about two different transmission between automatic transmission and manual transmission. So today we have Proton Saga 1.3cc edition 2016 with automatic CVT transmission. CVT is continuous variable transmission that can change simply through a continuous range of gear. This contrasts with other transmission that provide a limited number of gear ratio in a fixed start. Okay, next I will move to manual transmission. So here we have Pro 2 Kancil 850cc 2006 edition. So manual transmission is where gear change requires the driver to manually select the gear by operating a gear stick and clutch, which usually at a foot pedal for car and hand lever for motorcycles.
Okay guys, for CVT transmission, it has three components, which is belting, two pulley input and output, and another one is planetary gear. So during the car forward, the input at the pulley will have small diameter compared to the output. Output will have big diameter. So that is at low gear. So during at high gear, the input pulley will have large diameter compared to the output pulley. It will have small diameter. The pulley will compress and decompress for switching the gear. Okay, so for reverse, during reverse, it has planetary gear. So it has sun gear and the ring gear. During forward, when the sun gear and the ring gear will fix when they are moving forward. So when they are moving reverse, the ring gear will move opposite direction compared to sun gear. So at that condition, it will move reverse.
Okay, manual transmission consists of a clutch pedal and a gear shifter. The clutch pedal is used to disengage and engage power from engine to transmission, and the gear shifter is used to select the gear. Manual transmission consists of set of gear along a pair of shafts called the input shaft and the output shaft. The input shaft will transfer power from the engine, and the output shaft will transfer power to the wheel. Okay, to change the gear in manual transmission, first the power from the engine must be disengaged to the transmission. To disengage the power, the manual transmission will use a flywheel, a pressure plate and a clutch plate. The flywheel is attached to the crankshaft of the engine. The pressure plate is attached to the flywheel, and between them there is a clutch plate. The clutch plate will be sandwiched together between the flywheel and the pressure plate. When the flywheel is rotated, the clutch wheel also will rotate. The clutch plate is split together with the input shaft of transmission, so the clutch plate can transfer the power to the transmission. So to change the gear in manual transmission, first the driver must press the clutch pedal and then he can select the gear. When the pedal is pressed, the pressure plate inside the gearbox will disengage from keep pressing the clutch plate, and then the clutch plate can move freely between the pressure plate and the flywheel. So then the engine power will only move at the flywheel. Then the clutch plate will not moving along with the flywheel, and the clutch plate will keep the gearbox from have power from the engine, and then the gear can be selected. So that's why the manual transmission is called manual, because the gear can be selected manually.
So Amin,
Yeah.
what's the advantage of automatic transmission?
Automatic transmission for this CVT Saga is, for the first advantage is for the economic benefit. For the first, I mentioned the economic benefit is for the fuel consumption, because this CVT use less than manual transmission for the fuel efficiency. For the next advantage is this CVT automatic transmission use a simple structure in the manufacture. So compared to the manual transmission, this CVT component is less than the manual transmission. Okay, for the last advantage of CVT is CVT is a lightweight than the manual transmission, because I said before, the CVT transmission component is less than manual, so that the component are very lightweight than the manual transmission. Okay, I think that's the minor advantage for this CVT. So Cik Wan,
Yes.
how about you, manual transmission?
Okay, so for the manual transmission, the advantage of this transmission is first, easy to maintain. It's because manual transmission that's not complex compared to automatic transmission. So it will be easy to maintain. It just maintain the clutch. Then the price also cheap. So the second one is better fuel economy. Okay, why?
Also
Better fuel
same like
economy.
CVT like.
Yes. Okay, so
Continue.
the second one is better fuel economy. Is because automatic vehicle have a torque converter and hydraulic pump. So it will rob the car of percentage of its fuel efficiency.
I see.
Yes. So if drive manual transmission, it can increase fuel economy as much as 50%. So the last one is easier to control. Okay, this is because when you need to speed, it will give you fast response compared to automatic vehicle. So that's all for the advantage of manual transmission. So how about the disadvantage of automatic transmission?
I think for my experience, for CVT automatic transmission disadvantage, for the first is with driving experience. Okay, for many the sensation of the slipping clutch while the vehicle is moving through the shift point is experiencing, while it offers a limited gear ratio. The transmission is extremely slow to respond to throttle input. Also, the driver cannot even regularly check the fuel level. For the next disadvantage is for the noise operation. Many drivers in Malaysia complain about the CVT noise when this CVT shift the gear, then the driver can hear the noise. So that the disadvantage, I think. So the last of the CVT automatic transmission disadvantage is on the expensive maintenance. For example is when you need to change the fluid, the price of the CVT fluid is higher than the manual transmission fluid. So that I think that's all the disadvantage. For Cik Wan,
Okay.
how about you?
So for manual disadvantage, okay, first, of course, difficulty when driving on hills. Okay, this is because when stopping on a hill, it will be dangerous for who not familiar use the manual vehicle.
Especially women.
Yeah, especially women. Then the car can roll back if the car cannot control wisely.
Okay.
So that's the first disadvantage of manual. Okay, so the second one is pain from the clutch. Okay, when you
I know.
when you want to pull the clutch, push the clutch, so it will be pain on your left leg. This because manual transmission is difficult to use compared to automatic transmission. So I think that's from my experience use the manual car.
So we as a customer, I think we prefer use the latest technology, which is the automatic CVT transmission compared to the manual transmission.
Yes, I think.
Do you agree with me?
Yes, I agree because we also have jam at Malaysia, so I think relevant to use automatic vehicle for this generation. Okay, that's all for us. Thank you.
Okay, that's all from us. Thank you.